Welcome back to A Little Bit of Cheese, your bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast. I'm your host, Cody Depius, also a now world-renowned Chad Patrick believer. I am joined by Sam Douglas as he's saying that it's a little bit chilly in Milwaukee. Do you care to elaborate?
Oh, it's a little bit chilly in Milwaukee. You want to know why, Cody? Someone left the window open. Giannis is the man. Monster numbers last night. The window's open. It's chilly. I don't know. You ever leave the window open? You're like, damn, it's kind of chilly in here.
Nah, I just get really sad whenever it's closed because it all just seems to happen all too early for Wisconsin fans. I mean, not too early, but just without enough getting let in, you know. But, hey, a historical night for Giannis yesterday. I mean, we could start off and talk a little bit of Bucks. I mean, we'll of course, have a heavy Brewers focus today, but yesterday was something that we've never seen from anybody. 35 points. Is it 20 rebounds and 20 assists, 17 rebounds. Giannis has had double-digit assists the last two games, but 20 assists yesterday with the 17 boards. Two big wins for the Bucks. I don't know. I was really pessimistic. You guys heard me on Monday. I was like, they'll probably go 1-1. Philly's terrible. They'll find a way to lose to Phoenix. Giannis did not let that happen against Phoenix. A 133-123 victory. Giannis had 37 points in that one, too, along with his 11 assists. Ryan Rollins dropped 23 points. Brooke had 22. Really solid victory in Bud's coming home party.
That was an awesome night. When Phoenix came by, that was the highest true shooting percentage of an NBA team in any game ever. I think they were 82% for a true shooting percentage. I saw the stat. They had, I think it was like 68.9 field goal percentage, and it was the highest in the NBA this season. And then I was listening to a local podcast, and they're like, yeah, that's a great number. But let's adopt the advanced metrics here. That's the highest true shooting percentage for any team ever. Look, when Dame went down, I told you the formula. It's going to be run through Giannis, lack a little bit on defense, and be completely an offensive wagon. And that's how they've won the past couple games. Ryan Rollins has absolutely stepped up. Before last night, before the game against the 76ers, he was on a 4-game heater where he was 12 for 17 from three. He was shooting 70% from three. He was 26 for 37 from the floor. He was 70% from the floor, as well as 70% over a 4-game stretch. Ryan Rollins is looking like that Derek White kind of archetype, that guard that can play both ways, that just gives you a little bit of life. Now we've got Kevin Porter Jr., we've got Ryan Rollins playing good. There's rumors Dame might come back. I'm not really buying him quite yet, but Giannis, you know, he continues to leave the window open for us. If 34 is suiting up for the Bucks, we've got a shot, not at just beating the crappy 76ers team, but beating anybody out there, because 35, 20, 17 on 2 turnovers, add a steal in there, closed out the game, won it for us. This guy's something else, Scotty.
Yeah, that's legendary stuff. To see a stat, like, of course, you always see all the Nikola Jokic stat lines that they throw out there. He's the first player ever to do this, this, and this. I mean, 35, 20, and 17. Yeah, Jokic might have had a 30, 20, and 20, like literally 3 weeks ago, I think. But, I mean, 35, 20, and 17, that one it just feels better to me. I don't know. And is there a way that this team can be maybe a little bit more efficient with less? And I think you kind of know where I'm getting along with this. Like, without Damian Lillard, without that extra piece, that extra superstar, is there a way that this team can even be more efficient than what we saw earlier this season?
I was thinking about that last night. There's a silver lining of sadness in what we saw last night, because you realize just how much Giannis and Dame haven't been clicking. They don't make each other better, and they just haven't. And it's hard for me to say that, because, you know, it's a long season, and this is a team that prepares for the playoffs, and we've never seen everybody healthy, operating at the highest level. But Giannis needs to be running the show. He needs to be the point guard, dude. That's when the Bucks are operating the best. If Dame can adopt a role of being like a spacer and then maybe take some clutch shots when you need that ISO action in a late playoff game, that's definitely going to be best case scenario. But seeing what Giannis is doing without Dame, man, it's a reminder of the early Giannis, the Jason Kidd Giannis when he was the point guard. This is the Giannis that Jason Kidd coached and grew for 5 years. And it's different when he's running the offense, and it unlocks a different type of team. When you win, we have five wide, so that's when Giannis can get into the post, and it'll put the defense in a blender. So as soon as Giannis gets doubled, because you have to double him, you just throw four guys on the perimeter. It's going to be Brook, it's going to be Ryan Rollins, Gary Trent, Torian Prince, AJ Green. Take your pick. This team is built with these perimeter snipers. There's pretty
Yeah.
easy formula for Giannis to either get downhill or go in the post and spread four wide around the perimeter. Man, and it's the Dame Giannis connection just hasn't been working. It just hasn't. I so yeah, there's a absolutely another level when Giannis is running the point and being facilitator Giannis. 100% there's a different level. And there's a little bit of sadness to that because it's the realization that this Dame and Giannis thing just never it's never done its thing.
So the way that you explained that, I think, was perfectly. When you have Giannis getting doubled down low and you can have everybody sit around on the outside and wait to go get that shot, that's why you're seeing the 20 assists. That's why you're seeing 11
Mhm.
assists a couple nights ago for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And to even bring this point up even further, here are the stat lines from yesterday's game against the 76ers when Giannis had 20 assists. You had double-digit scoring, let me do my math here, from seven different Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, Giannis being the first one with 35 points. Kyle Kuzma, 16 points. Brook Lopez, 17 points. Torian Prince, 13. Ryan Rollins, 10. Gary Trent Jr., 13. AJ Green, 12. And then you have Kevin Porter Jr. with 8. Everybody is able to get involved. Everybody is able to find themselves in a rhythm, and they can even improve their game a little bit more. I think, and this is kind of the way that the NBA has been built the last 10 years. And I don't need to get too philosophical here, but when you're playing NBA 2K, you want to load your team with as many superstars and studs as possible. The names are cool. The jerseys are cool. To bring in another Hall of Famer alongside Giannis, everybody rejoiced here in the state of Wisconsin. Hey, this could be the coolest thing ever. But dreams aren't always reality. Sometimes they can even be a little bit sad when you realize, oh, shoot, Drew Holiday probably would have worked really well with this team that you have right now. Like
He
in
would have.
hindsight, like it kind of stinks to think about this, but we kind of all got what we wanted when Dame came to Milwaukee. But now you're just seeing, like, what would Giannis have even been able to do at the beginning of this season without it? Like, I think the numbers that we're seeing now, like Giannis would be MVP of the entire planet of Earth. He would be elected world leader if Damian Lillard did not play the first 60 games of this season because what Giannis Antetokounmpo is doing, I think this is something that could have happened even on a regular night in, night out basis, the way that that team was clicking yesterday. And I know this seems very fair weather the way I was talking about them this week, but I was a little bit down. You didn't see this team click on all cylinders these past couple of weeks. You didn't see things fire, but where you're playing with Giannis getting doubled in the post and everybody else out open, Giannis able to find him, that's where things can click offensively. Yes, I'm going to need to see a little bit more on the defensive side. I think that, I mean, Damian Lillard wasn't going to help that much on that front anyway.
No.
We're all going to be honest about that. So the team's not missing that much in that sense. But I think this team really could beat anybody that they could have beaten before with the Damian Lillard.
I
I'll
think
put
that's
it that
fair.
way.
I think that's super fair. Boston still feels we're going to need
Yeah.
Boston to miss their
Mhm.
shots to beat them. Um, and I think we can be competitive with anybody else. I've stayed firm on that. As long as Giannis is playing, we have a window to beat anybody. He is absolutely that good. He can dominate a game. And we're not even seeing the effort on defense yet. He's playing like he wants to be a little bit reserved because he doesn't want to get injured going into the playoffs. He's not doing some of the acrobatic stuff. He's leading a team, but he's being careful with his body. We are seeing peak Giannis. He's playing smart. He's using everything. It feels like a little bit like Slumdog Millionaire almost. Like, oh, now I need to be point guard. I remember a time when I needed to be point guard. Oh, now you need me to drop 60. Okay, I can do that. You want me to learn how to hit mid ranges? Now I know how to do that because they were criticizing me 5 years ago for that. I got one more stat. Uh, there's been two players in the shot clock era since 1954 to average 30 points and 60% field goal over consecutive 6 games in a row. That's Giannis right now and LeBron James on the Miami Heat of
Yeah.
2012. That's 30 points on 60%. It feels like another Tuesday for Giannis, but him and Miami Heat LeBron are the only guys to ever do it.
It's unfair. It's just stupid. Like I'm sorry for even doubting. I will look at the camera here on Monday. I'm sorry for doubting how dominant one individual can be and how much better he can make everybody else around him. You saw, I mean, 7 double-digit scores when your top scorer is dropping 35 points and had 20 assists. It's just stupid. It's unfair. I think teams are scared kind of to see how the Bucks have bounced back. Of course, it took a little bit after Damian Lillard was absent for about a week and a half, but now you start to see things kick into gear. And don't get me wrong, the 76ers suck. This has been a horrendous year for them. Uh,
Really
Phoenix,
bad.
they aren't that great. They're not, yeah. So, I mean, you're not beating great teams here, but you're starting to see things click and maybe instill a little bit of hope inside me. I could also very easily see this team get swept in the first round. I think that there is a world of possibility out there too, but with Giannis and seeing what he can do, it becomes less and less likely when you start to see nights like this start to pile up. So, once again, Giannis, one of the greatest we've ever seen. Another historical night for him. We really had to highlight it.
One more quick shout out. Doc Rivers passed Phil Jackson for number 7 all-time coaching wins. I don't think Doc has been fantastic in Milwaukee, but that's awesome. He passed Phil Jackson for most wins.
I mean, yeah, that's really cool. I mean, I, well, whatever. We didn't really talk about Doc Rivers' comments on the 3-1, how he doesn't get credit for winning the first 3 games.
That's rich. That was too much.
Oh man.
Doc's
So
got
I
no
mean,
filter.
there is respect for Doc Rivers. I mean, he won a championship, but I think that quote that he said, I think that one's kind of gonna that one will live in infamy for Doc Rivers. But congratulations, regardless, on passing Phil Jackson. I mean, you know what? I'll give you your credit. Good work winning those first 3 out of the 4 games in your series. Sorry, I had to talk about it. I did. I mean, I hope he gets better too. I know he was out with an illness, and Darvin Ham had to run the ship for a little bit there. So we hope he gets better. Congratulations, and congrats on winning 3 of the first 4 games in a 7-game set. The Milwaukee Brewers have bounced back. I'll say even in a big way. I know the way that people were talking on Monday, the way Sam and I were texting right after the show, where we watched the Brewers get absolutely shellacked by Kansas City on the home opener. Yeah, I got a theory here. I mean, 3 wins since that game. I don't think real
Yeah.
baseball started until the month of April hit. That's what I've been talking about on Instagram. That's where all the Milwaukee Brewers fan bases are talking on Twitter. Like March baseball isn't real baseball. Maybe they just weren't trying, or maybe the New York Yankees are that good, and maybe our pitching just kind of forgot to not groove it right down the middle every single fastball that you throw. But the Brewers have pitched really, really well these last couple of games, but 3-0 since that shellacking on Monday. 5-0 over the Royals. Chad Patrick had a nice first major league start for Chad Patrick, 4 2/3 shutout. Freddie Peralta had 8 innings of one-hit ball against the Royals, and then Nestor Cortez, 6 innings of one-hit ball against the Reds yesterday, a 1-0 victory for the Milwaukee Brewers. They've had to grind it out. No, things haven't been pretty always on the offensive side, but the pitching has been able to hold their own after looking like they couldn't do it against a 12U Little League team just a week ago. Sal Frelick is hitting 320. Yes, they're all singles, but he's doing his work getting on base. Bryce Terang hitting 321. Jackson Churio has bounced back in a big way. He's hitting 281. So this offense has shown the capability there. I mean, you still want to see more actually from 3 of your 4 guys that Sam and I talked about being the superstars of this Milwaukee Brewers lineup. William Contreras, I'm a little bit concerned about. He's hitting .083. Christian Yelich is hitting only 100. Rhys Hoskins, we haven't seen it from him quite yet. So there's a much better offensive team within this roster than what you're seeing these last couple of days, of course. But the pitching, to be able to come back to hold their own after getting beaten up so badly there's those first 4 games of the season. I was seeing tweets like this is the most this is the worst Brewers team that I've ever seen in my life. I've seen this. You pretty much write the season off. This is disgusting baseball. I never want to watch this team again. Those are the kind of comments that I was seeing on Monday. But the Brewers able to bounce back. I mean, Chad Patrick, a big start for him. Now I'm a Chad Patrick believer. Elvin Rodriguez, he's gonna have to pitch. I mean, he was a part of that Kansas City Royals game where they lost bad. I mean, he went 4 innings, gave up 4 runs. Wasn't as bad as what we saw with the likes of a Aaron Savali against New York or Nestor Cortez against New York, but this team was able to bounce back. I'll even say in a big way from 0-4, where that team gave up 43 runs in the first 3 games of the season, to now giving up just, let me do my math here, 7 runs in the last, actually, no, just 2 runs in the last 3 games. It's kind of been a historical turnaround for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, and that 2 runs in 3 games, that's more than we really probably thought was possible coming into this. And nothing like a suicide squeeze and to win a game, to light your team up a little bit and finally get the wheels going. That was absolutely electric.
I will say on that Monday, and you and I kind of texted about this, but at that point in that game when I think Milwaukee was down 9-0, you saw Ricky Weeks go out there and start arguing a call that really wasn't that egregious, but you knew Ricky was out there to go show these guys, hey, we should start to show that we care a little bit about this, because those first 4 games of the season, that might have been as low as I've felt in a Brewer fan ever. Like, where I was kind of saying it was like the comments may have been a little bit out there, maybe a little bit egregious. I understand it. I understand where people were coming from. That baseball was not fun to watch. It was to the point where I don't know if I want to take out 2.5 hours out of tomorrow to go watch this team that looks like they don't care on their home opener, when that was such a monumental game for them. Of course, the first game back at American Family Field without Bob Uecker, and they just got rocked. I think 11-1 was the final score there. The only bright spot was a Jackson Churio double. But I think that turning point there was Ricky Weeks going out there, getting tossed, showing these guys, hey, it's baseball. Let's go play some baseball. I'm going to get fired up about this regardless of if it was a strike or not. I'm going to go tell that guy it was a ball until he tells me I got to get out of here. He got out of there. And then you start to see things turn around. I mean, what I want to say about Chad Patrick, I see not the same pitcher as a Corbin Burnes, but a lot of the same mannerisms. I think they have a cutter that looks very similar. Not quite the same velocity, but it's a similar shape. The slider is not as nasty. There's not as much nasty on the pitches as there is with the Corbin Burnes. But I was seeing a location pinpoint from Chad Patrick that is really hard to come by. I mean, this guy was the Triple Crown winner in AAA last year. He was 14-1 with a 2.91 ERA in a league that is hard to pitch well in. He did really good, but because the stuff isn't as nasty, you weren't going to see him on any prospect list. He wasn't on anybody's radar going into the year. I think this guy could be this year's Tobias Myers.
You don't got to be flashy to be an ace, man. You got to have good precision, take care of your innings, leave them on base, get ground balls. You don't got to be throwing hundreds. So I'm going to be honest, I didn't see too much of Chad Patrick's outing, but I'll be tuning in next time he's throwing. I want to see some of the stuff. If he's getting Corbin Burnes comps after 4 innings.
I'll hit the brakes a little bit on that. It's the way that cutter moves, that late movement cutter that hits the edge just perfectly. And Eric Haas caught that game too, and I thought Haas did an incredible job, which, I mean, as expected, he was Chad Patrick's catcher in AAA for most of last year. So those guys have a really good relationship. They know how to work together, and they worked really well. No, the Royals aren't some team that's going to hit you out of the ballpark, but Chad Patrick able to hold his own. You saw the nerves, and even afterwards, he was explaining how he wasn't sure if he was going to make that start because he got really sick the night before. He wasn't even in the clubhouse the night before, but was able to grind through. You saw him get through 4 2/3. Just gritty stuff, and to see the young pitchers like that go in there and have that bulldog mentality. And I think that's where we saw Tobias Myers really excel last year. There were some moments, especially early on, when Myers could have sat down and had these thoughts creep in. Of course, he had a lot of bad experiences in the minors. He was a high prospect that was then taken off, but was able to work through that. through the bad, dark moments that he could have had at the beginning of last year, he could have let that go and kind of remind him, maybe I'm not built for this. Maybe this isn't where I'm supposed to be. Like the imposter syndrome. I don't know why I hear a lot about it now, but for a lot of these young guys, it is going in there and believing that you are made for this opportunity, for this position, that you've deserved it, that you've earned it, and that you are going to succeed. It's the whole visualization thing. It's an entire mindset. And I saw that out of Chad Patrick right away, especially that post-game interview. He's like, I was making that start anyway. Like, the team needed me. I needed myself to do this regardless of how I was feeling inside. We were going to go out there and we were going to kill it. And that's what he did. He grinded through, got it done, got the Brewers their first win of the season and started to turn things around. And then Freddie Peralta, that looked like Ace Freddie, man. That was fastball, filthy Freddie. That was better than any start he had all of last year. It was 8 innings, 8 strikeouts, looked electric, had just the one blemish, I think 2 back-to-back hits in the second inning, and that was it. He was nails. Do you think this Freddie is someone that you can rely on as an ace? I mean, we saw his peak already. He was better this week than he had been all of last year. Do you have a little bit more faith in this guy over the course of a season, just from seeing a start like that?
I can't say that after one start, my faith has been restored in Freddie Peralta, but I will say this feels like the Freddie that we've idealized, that we thought that we had, but we've been let down every time he goes out there because, like, Freddie, dude, I know you got the stuff. I know you can go 8. Why do you struggle in the 5th? Why do you just hit a wall at some point? Why are you an ace for some of the inning and then just lose control? Like, it's the Freddie that we've always had in our minds, that we've always wanted to see. And if he's able to do that, man, I would love to see it. I would love consistency out of Freddie Peralta. After one game, I can't, just because the fact of the matter is consistent. If it was one pitch and he just started nailing it, and wow, I think he's got great command of his changeup right now. I think that's something we can have confidence in. But am I going to sit here and say I think we're going to have a consistent season from Freddie Peralta? I can't say it quite yet.
I don't know if anybody ever could bet on an entirely consistent season from Freddie Peralta. But what I did like to see was the efficiency. You did not see efficiency at any point last year. And I mean, against New York, you knew he was going to have a little bit of a shorter leash. It was colder weather out there. Opening day, they weren't going to push him. But they kind of let him fly against Kansas City. I mean, I think he was only 60 pitches through the 6th inning, and he just kept rolling. He did not hit that wall. So I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's a mental thing for him. If it was the fact that Kansas City just kind of sucked after they used all their hits in game 1. But what we saw out of Freddie, something we are certainly going to welcome for the rest of the season. I mean, if you can get 6 or 7 out of him instead of the 4, 5, or 6 that we were used to, that's going to make this team that much better. And then Nestor Cortez, I don't know how much you caught of the game yesterday, but night and day, completely different pitcher from what we saw against New York. 6 innings, I think just 1 hit. I think he ended up retiring like 11 straight at the end of it. He looked good. Any faith restored in him? Because I know a couple of your comments after watching him pitch against New. I mean, really the worst pitching performance we've ever seen. Like, are we gonna write that off after performance like yesterday?
And we'll give him a shot. He redeemed himself a little bit. I mean, like you said, it might have been the worst, and that's the worst pitching performance that you can possibly have. That's straight out of a nightmare. So yeah, no, for the Nestor Cortez stock is going up. I like that he's a lefty. It looks like he's got good command. He's not going to have, any game breaking stuff. But again, we know we have a strong enough bullpen. You get through your 5, 6 innings, limit the damage, and we're going to manufacture runs. I did tune in a little bit of the game yesterday. We were hitless, I think, through 4. And then Churio had cracked it open with a double. That was the first hit for the Brewers for the game. He ended up getting pushed over to third, and then there was 2 outs. And that run, it ended up being the game-winning run. But that just felt so big at the time because, we had no hits through the game. Churio finally got on base, and we rack up a couple outs. And it's like, all right, are we really going to leave another runner stranded? This is going to be such a pitcher's duel. Sal stepped up big time, man. Sal's been stepping up. I think we got guys with clutch genes. We're going to be able to manufacture runs. Obviously we're going to get shut out a couple times this year. It's baseball, but I bet that number is going to be real low for this Brewers team. I see them manufacturing runs at an awesome rate right now.
I do too. I mean, through the first 7 games, you're 3-4. You had a couple of the worst pitching performances you've ever seen. You have your two most touted hitters in Christian Yelich and William Contreras hitting 100 or below.
Oh,
Like
boy.
they have Contreras is hitting 083.
That's
Yelich is hitting 100. And this team is staying afloat at 3-4. Like things have been really bad. Those guys are going to need to step up. But I think this is encouraging because I know at some point, at least William Contreras, and I think Yelich is going to be back too. These guys are too good of ball players to continue to struggle. Like it's been nightmare stuff for them at the plate too. So a couple of the guys that you were relying on just haven't really been there, but this team is still able to crank out a couple of wins. I mean, hoping to get back to 500 today. Tyler Alexander is going to be on the bump for his first start of the season. One of those mystery pitchers. We'll see how that one goes. You just hope for the best, get it to the bullpen, and you see where it goes. Elvin Rodriguez will pitch on Saturday, and then Chad Patrick will be on Sunday. So a little Sunday afternoon action, Sam and I. Maybe you and I can catch that one, and we can be Chad Patrick believers together. But Brewers, after maybe hitting rock bottom, starting to climb their way back up in 2025. On a quick mention for the Packers, Jair Alexander was shown on Instagram Live, I believe, working out with Xavier McKinney. He looked pretty happy. He did the sword thing, the whole pack is back. You think that this Packers relationship is starting to heal there for Jair Alexander?
I hope so. I really do. I think we would trade him for a draft pick for the right guy to move up in the draft. I think that's what Goody has probably in his back pocket. We know that he loves moving around just a little bit. He will make some sort of trade on draft day. But no, I'd love to see Jair, man. I stand firm on that. If he's out there locking up playing man coverage, and then we have Xavier McKinney in the back, we know Bullard's getting better. We know Williams is getting better. It just makes the holes obvious, and we can really focus on the defensive line, and the marriage between the defense can be a little bit better. You get a little more consistency in the backfield that helps out a weaker defensive line. Then you can really boost the defensive line and know that your corners are going to be able to guard for 3-4 seconds. Maybe it would be huge to have A- B+ corner for the Packers. I'm not going to call him A+ anymore. We know there's injury risk. Yeah. I'm all for Jair coming back. I really am.
Dude, I'm all for a B corner at this point. And I mean,
fair.
and I think Nate Hobbs might be one. I read a couple of things this week. They of course, you're supposed to sound confident, but Gutekunst and LaFleur and Hafley, they feel confident that Nate Hobbs can play on the outside. That's welcome to hear because you certainly don't want Keyshawn Nixon to be a guy that you rely on the outside of coverage. I'm going to sit and say that. I think Nixon can play in that slot. He can be in that nickel, and that's okay, but he's not someone you want as your cornerback 1, your cornerback 2 lining up against the stud on the outside. I think Hobbs has a lot of length. I think he has a lot of athleticism, and I think that he's going to get some opportunities to show if he's a stud or not this year. I think Green Bay is going to give him a lot of at-bats, and we'll see how he comes up in the stat lines.
Nixon put up some decent numbers at the end of the year. He had good end of season one-on-one man coverage, true guarding numbers, Pro Football Focus numbers had him a high rated. He fails the eye test. He just does. I watched the games. I watched him guard. I watched him, stumble around and be off his guy. I don't know what was happening, whether they were bad throws or how his numbers on Pro Football Focus made him a highly rated corner, but Nixon is not a corner 1. I don't know if he just wants to stop returning kicks or what, or make some more money or what his MO is here, but he ain't corner. He ain't CB1.
Yeah, he can be CB3. I mean, it's not ideal, but I can live with CB3. I can't live with CB2 or CB1. Maybe the Pro Football Focus ratings are all just because he intercepted Patrick Mahomes a year and a half ago. Maybe that's it. They're like, yeah, he sealed and dealed that game. I mean, that was all Keyshawn there. That kept Green Bay alive for them playoff hopes. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. The eye test, not 100%, maybe 73%. Kind of how I feel like Keyshawn Nixon. Move on to the cheese grater. I got a Bucks question for you right away. Who needs to step up for the Milwaukee Bucks to give them consistency, to give them a real shot to go make a run in the playoffs? And it's not just Giannis. I know we talked about Bobby before. I want you to pick a different guy and tell me
It's
why.
Doc Rivers. It's Doc Rivers. We have the guys. This is a Doc job. We have the guys. The formula is not difficult. Put Giannis on the post. Put defense in a blender. Spread 5 out. Get a good shot. Get downhill. When Giannis is on the bench, give it to Bobby or Kevin Porter Jr. Let Giannis figure it out. We have the guys. We have the pieces. Giannis is good enough. You're going to need the Celtics to miss shots to beat them. That's just how it goes. Let the freak be a freak. This is on Doc. He's the one that needs to step up.
I like it.
A little baseball history for you. Who is? Oh, do I want to get this name right?
Baseball names.
Ump. Well, who's the ump that ruined Armando Galarraga's perfect game?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm not even going to try at that.
Really?
I will call on the MLB to go and say, please change the ruling on that. Because, I mean, we can go back and give Reggie Bush his Heisman back. I think we can go back and give Armando Galarraga really a no name except for that game. Give him his perfect game. That's his one piece of baseball history. And I think his perfect game, or what should have been perfect game, is almost recognized more than a lot of other perfect games just because of that reason. But I want them to go on and seal the deal and make it happen. But who was the ump? Is it Angel Hernandez?
No, Jim Joyce. Jim Joyce.
Yeah.
The one that tied to that infamy.
I stand no chance there. I don't really know a whole lot of umpires' names. I know my Jerry West because he's at least loud. He's assertive. I know who that is. He's been in the game a long time. And then of course everybody hates on Angel Hernandez. Now other than that, I'm not an ump guy. So I apologize for that. Maybe let you down a little bit there, Sam. We'll stick with baseball. After a week of the Brewers, have your expectations for this team changed at all?
Expectations are a funny thing in Wisconsin sports, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
The wheels were falling off when the Bucks were 2-8. Dame goes down, and we want to trade Giannis, and just because there's less expectations, now we beat a crappy Philly team by 8, and all of a sudden everything's right in the world. The Brewers, the wheels are falling off. The team stopped showing up. What do we do? Nestor Cortez is terrible. Freddie doesn't have it. And expectations lower a little bit, and we beat a very mid Kansas City team 1-0, and all of a sudden it's a bright sunny day. Expectations is a heck of a drug, Cody. I still think they're going to be flirting with. They're a 90-win team. Not to overreact after the first couple of days. Baseball started in April. I think expectations are a heck of a drug, and I'm a believer in this Brewers team.
I am too. I think Pat Murphy's a big reason for that. I think a lot of baseball's mentality, and I think Pat Murphy carries the locker room the right way. The word from last year, undaunted. Like for that to be the motto of that team, like that's a really, really great word and great motto for a baseball team. And I think Milwaukee's carried that very well.
Who's the single season all-time strikeout leader for the Brewers?
That would be Mr. Ben Sheets, I believe. Maybe 2004, I think. 281.
Oh, that's a lot. 264.
264. That would have been my second guess. Okay.
And 237 innings.
Wow. Yeah, he was awesome. I mean, Olympic gold medalist, Ben Sheets. Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for injuries, I think you would hear a lot more of his name. Like he was at the top of his game. He was one of the best in baseball. Just a career that was riddled with injury. But Ben Sheets will never forget you here in the state of Wisconsin. Here's a true or false question. Maybe a bit of a prediction true or false question for you. The Packers will have a double-digit sack pass rusher in 2025. True or false?
False.
Okay.
Gotta see it to believe it. I would love to be bullish on Rashawn Gary again. I feel like I got burned with that. I think changes are being made. They're improving across the board because they needed to, and really the only way to go is up. If they're going to let Coop loose, go for it. I think he has a lot of value in pass coverage as well. So if they're going to let Coop loose, I think he could be probably the best candidate, him or Rashawn Gary, because Rashawn, he's not going to be dropping back all that much. He's just going to have more reps running at the quarterback. But false, I'm out. I think we might have a good defense. I don't think we have a game record on the defensive line getting after the quarterback. Fantasy football question for you. Who's your favorite player you ever rostered for a single season? My first year ever, I had Maurice Jones-Drew. Maybe my favorite fantasy player ever. Any favorite fantasy football players? Doesn't have to be the best, just someone you loved, a sleeper that really hit.
Oh, this is a really good question. I think Brock Bowers this past year. I think just because, I mean, he fell into, I think, the 7th and 8th round in so many of those drafts. And you have to value a tight end that much more because there's a lot of inconsistency at the position. And be able to go out and get one of those guys that you can write in for 12 points every single week, that was pretty comfortable. I like that. Brock Bowers, I mean, the greatest rookie tight end season we've seen. I know a little bit of recency bias. I had Devontae Adams, and that was always fun because, but you always expected it. Like, I don't think everybody expected for Brock Bowers to go in and be that guy. I mean, Las Vegas already had Michael Mayer. They're like, why did they even draft Brock Bowers? They're not even going to have to throw to him that much. But, I mean, I think 110 catches, like, he was the guy. He was the offense there in Las Vegas. And not everybody expected that. People might even call Vegas a little bit stupid for drafting him. But that's what I'll say to Green Bay. I think we talked about it before, but go and get your superstar. It doesn't matter who you need. If he's there and he's a stud and you know he's going to be a stud, just go pick him. I mean, I think we can stay away from quarterback, but even if there's like a running back that you just know is like, who cares? Go get a stud. You can figure it out later. You can figure out the roster later. Just be confident in who you think is going to be good or who you know is going to be good. Be confident in your assessment. Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week. We'll be back on Monday. Bucks got a couple of games this weekend. They take on the Heat tonight, the Pelicans on Sunday, I believe, and then the Brewers will play 3 games, the last 3 of the 4 against Cincinnati. So hopefully some good news coming on Monday. I'm Cody Depius. That is Sam Douglas. We want to thank you for being here with us this week. We will see you once again on Monday for another edition of A Little Bit of Cheese, your bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast.